So my name is Curry Mitchell. I teach composition.
Hi, I'm Tyrone the guy. I'm in the letters pre-transfer.
And we're talking about a pedagogy of distraction. And the framing question for this is, what is your cell phone policy, or what is your device policy, and why? So Jim, what is your cell phone policy and why?
Why don't you ask Ty?
Okay, Tyrone, what is your cell phone policy and why?
Sorry, I'm eating a bagel.
Yeah! Pedagogical breakfast! Yeah!
So I allow students to have their phones in class, and I tell them if there's an emergency to just step outside for a moment and send their email or text message or make their phone call. My policy is basically if the phone is a distraction to you or to a classmate, I ask you to put it away, or if there's a testing situation where I want you to have a phone, I ask you to put it away. Otherwise, it's okay with me if they have it out, and I intentionally try to design activities where students have to use their phones. A couple of times students have told me that they wished I'd let them know ahead of time they'd be using their phones because they ran out of battery, and that's a good sign for me that I'm actually making them use their phone for something purposeful.
That's cool.
Yeah, like doing research in the classroom, something like that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And so why do you use the cell phone in the classroom? Like, what's the value?
Well, I think it's usually kind of manipulative because almost every student has one. If they don't, then they can share.
Yeah.
And they're already on the phone before class and after class. It's a very comfortable environment for them. So if I can direct them to a website or something, and I want them to find some information on their phone, it's teaching them to use it as a productive resource in their education. And then I also don't feel like I'm arm wrestling with the students every day about, your phone out, put it away.
Yeah. So that's kind of, exactly. So the cool thing about using cell phones or laptops, you really accomplish two things at once. You can create an activity that is student-led, right, in a space that most students are comfortable with, even though there is a learning curve with technology that we need to acknowledge. But you're also teaching them how your class organizes resources. And however, if you document or if you design those networks and digital activities purposely and intentionally, like in a Google Doc or a Canvas website or something, right, then you document that class discussion, right? You document that activity. So the having the activity becomes a resource they create themselves. They know how to find it because you're teaching them how to get through Canvas and all that stuff in the moment, and later on they can easily go back and use it. That's right.
I think teaching students how to use technology productively is really vital to their success because there's so many tools available for students nowadays. So I think part of being an instructor is just making them aware of what those tools are and then teaching them how to best utilize them. A phone can make you lazy. The phone could also remind you to get up and walk around and do some exercise. So it can be either or.
Yeah.
I hate to sidetrack the conversation. Can you walk us through the poster a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Because it's such a cool poster.
Yeah. So first, sure.
Because it's such a cool poster.
Yeah. So first, let me just point out, and I'm sure this can be linked later, that this is a Google Doc.
Right.
So there's lots of links in this space, right? So
we can put the actual document.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I broke this out into just maybe different kinds of ways of teaching. So lecturing, leading Socratic discussions, or just like work-heavy days or concept-heavy days. It's this will not be fun, but we have to do it kind of day, right? And what I've also tried to do is link to resources that really address these specific types, ways of teaching and ways of learning, right? And so for the lecturer, I have a link to a podcast who's really talking about dynamic ways of lecturing with technology, right? So chunking lectures, making sure there's consistent group breakout sessions, right? And that each of these are utilizing technology in a way that's dynamic and interesting. In other words, in a way that's teaching more distractingly than the distractions themselves, right? And so this particular podcast describes web adventures. So I might propose a concept, and then I want my students to go on a web adventure to find a definition or an analogy. And so I give them something to think about until they can't think about that thing anymore. I give them something to do with it so they can revisit it and rehash it. And then we come back and we go a little deeper, right? The Socratic discussion, right, is already in its sort of it's designed student-led, but technology will enhance it. So we can have a student, a Socratic, lots of other things going on. They're distracted naturally, right? So doing something to collect that data, whether a poll or just a sense of the room, and being responsive to it. So doing this in a way to break up the heaviness of that workshop to get some use. So one of the things I've done recently that works really well is we go to the subreddit AW, right? And I have it up here. I don't know if it'll work well there. This is a subreddit that collects videos and memes and pictures of really cute things, like fuzzy foxes. And so we'll do 15 minutes of heavy lifting and then 3 minutes of everyone going, aww, right? Which totally breaks up that pace. It gets energy back in the room. And thinking about that moment where art is now being mechanically reproduced, and he's realizing there's two ways of appreciating art. The contemplative, I'm in the space where it was designed to be presented and I'm letting it absorb me, and the reproduced where I'm looking at it distracted. Right? It's the Mona Lisa on a stamp, and I'm looking at that while I'm writing the letter and thinking about where it's going, and I absorb it. Its meaning is me projecting upon it. And so that kind of premise of, if we already recognize that our students are learning distractedly, then what are the tools and the values and the cool things about that? Not what should we be anxious about that, but what can we use to enhance those cool things about that way of seeing or learning.
So it's actually distraction as opportunity.
That's right. That's exactly it. Yeah.
I just have one concern. I feel like you didn't put any time into thinking about it, preparing.
Yeah,
this presentation. It's kind of flippant.
I was on YouTube.
Yeah, I feel.
And all the little the suggestions just derailed me.
These are going to be the jankiest videos ever. Throughout the video.